Mark Thiessen, an American Enterprise Institute scholar and former chief speechwriter for President George W. Bush, also a Fox News contributor, and Zac Petkanas, a Democratic strategist and former senior DNC advisor. Gentlemen, welcome. Good to have both of you here.
Good to be with you.
Boy, there's a lot on the table. And, you know, the evaluation of what he has done so far. Zac, let me start with you. As he heads into this, a bit of frustration on the legislative front, but he has a lot of unraveling of what the Obama administration did that he has methodically worked his way through.
Well, sort of. I mean, it's been a big disappointment for them on the legislative front, but it's been sort of a lot of unraveling on the Obama front. Most of these executive orders, they're theater. They're study groups and blue ribbon commissions. It is the perception of activity, because what they're doing is getting smoked on the legislative front. There's been failure after failure on that side, and they're panicking in the White House. So that's why you're seeing this flurry of activity right now, to see if they can paper over their extraordinary failures and broken promises, from job creation
Mark
to
is laughing, which leads me to think that perhaps he has another viewpoint on it. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, well, Zac wasn't saying that when Barack Obama was using his pen and his phone. He had a different line when it came to executive orders back then, as all the Democrats did. But look, Donald Trump has a fair enough. Donald Trump could look back on this 100 days and say that he has accomplished something more significant than any of his predecessors in modern history. He put a Supreme Court justice on the Supreme Court that is going to affect the direction of this country for the next 3 decades. Barack Obama's stimulus, his big achievement, is forgotten. George W. Bush's tax cuts, which were passed after the 100 days, those have been amended by his successor. From now on, for the next 3 decades, every 5-4 vote that goes the conservatives' way is going to be one of Donald Trump's 100 days achievements. So that is a huge accomplishment, and it pales compared to anything anyone has ever achieved in their first 100 days.
You know, it's interesting to look at sort of the communications effort that we have seen happening clearly this morning and in recent days. You see Steve Mnuchin very much out front, Nikki Haley very much out front. And I think there's an effort to put some of these folks that they have a lot of confidence in out there speaking on behalf of the administration and talking about what they want to do. So this tax reform picture that we're getting, if you can simplify the tax code, as Mnuchin said he wants to do, make it easier for middle income folks who are doing their taxes to have it on one sheet of paper, which everybody, of course, would love to see happen, and also cut the tax rate for individuals and for corporations as well. Zac, what do you think? Are you for or against cutting taxes for the middle income folks and also for businesses in this country?
Look, everyone is for cutting taxes for middle-income folks, but that's not what tax reform is to this White House. To this White House, tax reform is massive tax cuts for corporations and the very wealthy, and leaving the middle-income folks high and dry. And so that's
not what they said today. I mean, you know, you may turn out to be right, but that's not what their stated goal is today. You're sure that you're right. You know, before
I'm sure
anything
that
even
I'm
happens. Why would they want to do that? If you want to get reelected, why would you do what you just explained? It makes zero sense.
It absolutely makes zero sense, which is it. But that's the same playbook that they did with the health reform repeal act. They went after very popular programs like raising seniors' premiums, and they seem to be doing the same playbook with so-called tax reform, which is really a big fat tax cut for the wealthy.
If that's the case, that's not going to go over very well. Mark, is that the case?
No, it's not the case. I mean, look, Donald Trump was elected because the Democrats lost. There are 700 counties in this country that voted twice for Barack Obama. A third of them voted for Donald Trump. Those voters are the ones that he's going there to fight for, and those are the voters he's going to give a tax cut to. So Zac is completely wrong. The reality is that what they need to do, however, is they need to learn from the mistakes they made with the Obamacare repeal, which is don't rush this out. They seem too desperate to get this under the wire by the end of the 100 days. The 100 days doesn't matter. I mean, there's no president in history who's been judged by history on his first 100 days. You're judged by what you do by your presidency. And so they need to get this right. They need to take their time. They need to bring the different constituencies in, explain it to the American people, build public support for it. They started to do that, but don't rush it.
But Mark,
do it
you know,
right.
I mean, benchmarks do matter. Think about real life, right? Everyone gets benchmarks. You have an annual review. When you're in high school, it goes by semesters. You get a grade. It's not to say that it's the be-all, end-all of your report card for the presidency, but obviously this is a president, and you know, you look at the people around him, Wilbur Ross, Steve Mnuchin, these are people who've worked on deadlines all their lives. It seems that only Congress doesn't understand the meaning of saying, you know what, let's try to get this done by X date. All you ever hear is why they can't do that, Zac.
Look, I agree. I mean, but look, this administration has had very clear benchmarks that they set out themselves. This is Donald Trump himself who said that he had 10 proposals, a piece of legislation that he said that he was going to roll out that was to fulfill his promises on the campaign trail, including a job creation bill, which we haven't seen. He said he was going to have Buy America, which he did an executive order, but then he allowed the Keystone Pipeline to go forward with foreign steel. And so, look, I think benchmarks are good. I think deadlines are good. But this administration is not keeping.
You got to leave it there.
Up with them.
Thank you very much, you guys. Good to see you both
Martha.
tonight. Thank you. So joining us now.